More W4R24H. Stories.
Let me begin by saying, I've always been a big believer in the paranormal. I grew up in USA, my grandmother and my father would always entertain me with paranormal stories of many family members. It was always fascinating. However, I never really thought much about it, and never had a paranormal experience, until I was around 33-34 years old. I left the USA when I was in my 20s and have lived with my husband and children abroad for many years now. We traveled quite a lot, and this particular incident happened when we were residing in Doha, Qatar. We moved to Doha 3 weeks before the World Cup 2022, and we lived in a villa, an independent house, but surrounded by many other independent houses enclosed by a wall, rather like a compound. It's normal for many people to live in villa compounds in the Middle East, and we were no exception. From the start, the house had an unsettled feeling. Not a sad one per se, just something uncomfortable about it. Many small and inexplicable incidents happened there, but one or two were quite strange and unnerving, and I'll tell you about one such one here. So, women love jewelry, costume/real, and I'm no exception, and I would always go to the mall and look at jewelry. On one such trip, I happened to purchase a costume jewelry. It was beautiful, a blue stone surrounded by 8 white stones, exactly like Princess Diana's engagement ring. I remember being so excited about it, and even told my husband about it. He thought I was crazy. I would wear it all the time, it was such a favorite of mine. I wore it so much that after many tries I guess I got tired of it, so I distinctly remember that I opened my cupboard and kept it back in my jewelry box. Anyway, life went on. I was busy with raising kids, household chores, we didn't have a maid yet, so I forgot about it. 2 weeks go by, before I wished to wear that ring again. I went to my jewelry box and opened it, but couldn't find the ring there. I was confused. I thought I had kept the ring there. I remember not wearing it. I was pretty miffed that it had gone missing. I asked my husband and my kids, then 7 and 5, if they had taken it, and they denied. Besides, they couldn't have climbed up on the top shelf of the cupboard and just get one thing out. There was no one else in the house. I searched and searched, but the ring had disappeared like it had never even existed. Thinking it was my bad luck, I didn't give it much credence, as it was fake anyway, so I kind of put it aside, thinking it was perhaps my unmindfulness. Anyway, it was quite a few days after that this strange thing happened. My eldest child, who was 7 at the time, has an incurable sweet tooth. He would always love to eat toasted bread with butter and jelly as a snack and would frequently ask me to make it for him. My granny is a wonderful cook, and all our stuff is homemade, including the jams. My son would adore her guava jams and would always love to eat it with toast. My granny lives in Italy, and she would regularly send these jams in plastic jars for my children. I would always keep them in the fridge and use them sparingly. So, as I was saying, my son wanted me to fix him a snack of jam with toast. I remember going down to the kitchen, toasting the bread, opening the fridge and taking out my granny's jar of guava jelly. As I unscrewed the lid, something sparkled at the bottom. I looked down and couldn't make out what it was, because of the jam's thick dark jelly-like consistency. I held it up against the light and could make out the outline of a ring at the bottom of the jar. I still didn't make the connection. I thought to myself that my granny being old, she must have mistakenly dropped her ring inside one of the jars. I put my fingers inside the jar, dug deep to the bottom, and imagine my utter astonishment when I pulled out from the bottom of the jelly jar my ring that had been lost a good days before, something I had searched the entire house for. Something I had fought with everyone for and accused my kids of playing with my stuff. To this day, I swear I do not know how it got to the bottom of the canister of jam that came from Italy and that was in the fridge. Even if the children had taken it as a joke, I'm sure they wouldn't have snuck it in the jelly can. I believe that's cunning, and children are not ever cunning, they are playful but never cunning. It was the work of the jinns, perhaps playing a prank on me. Needless to say, I threw away that ring, thinking if they liked it so much, they could pick it up from the rubbish bin and keep it.